Now, this is going to be harder to do than the albums because the thing with movies is I can take a very long break from watching them, and unlike listening to music, like with music, I basically listen to music every day. And even like with video games, like I can go a while without playing games, but the thing about movies is because we have basically 98 selections here. Um, I don't remember everything in detail, so some of these picks are gonna be like very. I'm gonna say I the final choice for these are going to not or like I might be fighting with myself on choosing to keep these or get rid of these in all fairness. All right. So these are all our picks. Very diverse to say the least. But yeah, a lot of these are like from childhood up till recent watches. You'll be able to tell which is which. First is Bad Boys 2. Now, funny enough, I actually watched this when I was still a kid, really. I'm pretty, either preteen, probably maybe preteen. I think I was maybe 13 when I watched this movie. And it's still a really funny movie to this day. I had it on DVD at my grandparents' house, and my grandparents loved the first movie, but I never watched the first movie. I just watched this movie, and it's a classic. I love this movie. Um, the one scene where he's on the phone and Martin Lawrence's character is on the phone and he's like talking to someone and then he's looking at like a goldfish is like one of my favorite scenes in any comedy ever. Um, yeah, this is definitely it's between I Kept for a Reason and Great. I'm gonna put Great for now, but that could change. Now this was straight up just a childhood pick. The original Transformers movie. I have not watched this in so long. I have the DVD. It's in my room somewhere. I do need to rewatch it again, but I'm gonna put it's between these two, and I do have a love for old school animation, so I'm gonna go for I Kept for a Reason for now. But again, that'll probably change. Now we got the Cable Guy. I only watched this movie once, and I don't know why I picked this. It's one of those movies where it's like you kind of like it for a specific reason, but I don't even if I rewatch it to this day, I don't think I would enjoy it for whatever that reason was originally. So 100% has been replaced. The other thing too that might have leveraged this is whenever I was watching Close Enough and they referenced scenes from that movie. So okay, this next one, and then like we have these interesting movies, and then we have one of the hardest movies that I could ever rewatch in my life, which is Snow Angels. This is one of those movies that you will feel like shit after finishing it. However, like judging by because I've like learned about this stuff in my college course or my college program, it kind of it hit me harder. I'm not gonna tell you what this movie's about. You're gonna just watch it and find out for yourself. It's one of the best movies that I don't think I will ever be able to rewatch. So in that regards, it will not be replaced. Next is I also that was my first introduction to Kate Beckinsale as an actress, and she's phenomenal. And then we got a class. And then we got like again. This order is ridiculous. Then we got an absolute classic, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. This is definitely a movie that will not be replaced. It's a Thanksgiving tradition to watch this movie. I love John Candy as an actor. I love Stephen Martin as an actor. They're both amazing in this film. This is such a nice, fun holiday film that you just cannot go wrong with. And then we have a very base take. This is my favorite movie currently. It always changes between like five other movies, but Man on Fire is so I'll tell you like the lore behind why I appreciate this movie so much. So originally, my grandmother had this movie on DVD at her house, and I started watching it. I got to the scene where I got to basically a shootout scene, but I didn't remember like the beginning of the movie. Like up to that, I only remember this movie for the shootout scene. And then she accidentally got rid of it. I'm guessing at a church yard sale or something. Maybe Salvation Army, who knows. So I was on the look for this movie. I was on the lookout for this movie. I searched for like I watched the trailer for it, and then it got me even more hooked, and I really needed to track down this movie. So a couple of years, I just kept going to Valley Village looking for this damn movie. One time I did find it, but it was scratched. Same thing goes with Basketball Diaries, and then another time I went to eventually. It was my I want to say 2022, either 2020, yeah, I believe it's 2022 or 2021. I'm pretty sure it's 2022 though. I went and I found it and I grabbed it and I watched it and I was like, holy shit, this is an amazing action movie. It's kind of like it's between action and thriller, and definitely this movie inspired Max Payne 3. There's a lot of things about this movie that definitely inspired Max Payne 3. Um, Denzel Washington's performance is phenomenal, and it's one of those movies that try to like tell like it speaks on a real issue, which is like human trafficking in I already forgot where they were, but yeah, basically it's a movie about human trafficking and um, kids getting uh, kids getting tr- um, stolen, held for ransom by like these rich people, and then there's like a twist in the movie that like really just changes the direction of this movie. And this is just a phenomenal movie. I love the music for this movie, one of my favorite soundtracks ever. And it's just a phenomenal movie. Highly recommend it. And then we got Just Friends, which I only watched this for the first time last year, and it's a great movie. It's a funny comedy. Um, Now I feel like if I watch it more each year, I will probably remember more of it. But all I could say is that I kept it for a reason. Now I'm gonna put it as great. We'll keep it traditional. Gone Girl. This was a movie that I've been hyped up, or that was kind of like hyped up both by both my parents, but my dad really just wanted me to watch it and be like, "Oh, like you gotta stay clear of these types of women." And my mom told me to watch it because she just really liked it. So, um, this is an amazing movie. If you haven't watched it, definitely watch it. It's an amazing thriller. It's kind of fucked up in certain aspects, but the way this movie was shot, one of my favorite things about this movie is actually the menu select screen on the DVD, which is like a news broadcast. Phenomenal movie. Will it be replaced? It's kind of in between these two. For now, I'm gonna put it here. Catch That Kid. This was a movie that I watched on YTV long ago. I don't remember which movie I watched with Christian Stewart that like was the like I don't remember which came first, this movie or Zathura, and like the first movie I watched with Christian Stewart. But this movie like altered my like I don't even remember how old I was like brain like oh these kids are robbing a bank and then they're using like go-karts as getaway vehicles. It's such a funny dumb movie. Um that's I don't know if it I wouldn't I don't know it's hard to tell. It's hard to say if it holds up to this day. I think it's definitely it's no cat in the hat, but uh I would probably put it for could be replaced. As much as I love it, the 2000s ness of it, it could definitely be replaced. The Great Outdoors, again, like when it comes to John Candy, it's very hard to like really beat. A great comedy. I had, or I still have actually, the DVD of the Great Outdoors and Uncle Buck. This is a funny movie for like to watch in the summer. Whether it's like I'd say kind of like family with parental guidance. Uh, it's been a while since I've watched it, but I know for a fact that like just with anything with John Candy really doesn't get old. Um, yeah, probably one of my favorite scenes is whenever he's on the boat. He's jet skiing and he keeps saying like "you bastard, you bastard," and then the other guys are Dan Aykroyd's character, or yeah, Dan Aykroyd's character is like, "What? He wants to go faster, so keep going faster." Great movie. Barnyard. This was a movie that I remember originally liking, and even I remember watching this with my dad. I don't remember like when it came out, but I remember that he liked it a lot. And then coming back to it, I think last year because I picked it up in like a triple pack with like Rango and Charlotte's Web animated. But it's safe to say that this movie still holds up. I know a lot of people like the show more, but there's some classic scenes from this. There's a little bit of like Family Guy humor that like a little bit crude like Family Guy humor in this that I just it doesn't really go uh, it didn't go unnoticed to me. That and I respect that. It's kind of one of those movies that yeah, it's a kids movie, but I think it's one of those kids movies that adults appreciate as well. Like probably my favorite scene is like when they're driving and they heisted the milk is like they're drunk driving. Phenomenal uh, phenomenal movie. But I'm gonna put it in great. Um, the 1989 Batman film. This is the first Batman movie that I watched, and this was the first movie that got me into Batman outside of like Arkham Asylum. That I would say. Um, it's one of those movies that's like it's so of its time, but yet it also feels like it came out in like the late '90s. It's a really interesting movie. Um, it's my favorite Batman movie next to the one with Robert Patterson. Honestly, I'm gonna definitely put it in great, and we'll put it here. The Butterfly Effect. I have a emotional connection with this movie because it's well, it inspired something. Inspired things like Life is Strange. Um, More specifically, another personal thing that I don't want to talk about. I love this movie. It is a very depressing movie, but damn it, do I love it. I don't care how edgy it is for the time. It's like it's one of those movies that you don't feel good about you don't really feel good watching it. It's a miserable movie, but at the same time, I highly recommend when you do watch this movie. There's a video that kind of like analyzes it and talks about some things that you might have missed in the movie, and that just made me appreciate the movie more. Now, if you ask me what the ending that I prefer, while the explicit ending is, you know, very like it did something that no other movie would have probably done. I feel more for the other ending where um he goes back, or I'm not gonna spoil it. But yeah, the director's cut ending. While I thought it was interesting that they went that way for the time, I prefer the theatrical ending. We're gonna put this as, yeah, it's pretty. These are some wild selections here. Um, here. Hello. There we go. The original Cars movie. I haven't watched this movie in forever, but I put it down for like I know that this movie still holds up. I really liked the movie licensed Cars video game I had for the Wii. It was very fun. This is one of those movies that's just like it's still really great. Like this movie definitely still holds up to this day. Regarding the story, how it's told, and there's not a whole lot I can say about it. It's definitely a timeless Pixar classic. Now, will it be replaced though? I'm gonna put, as much as I did say all that stuff, it still can be replaced. All right, now this is one of my favorite movies. I've watched this movie so many times. I think I watched this movie about 15 times. I love this movie. I love Mike Myers. He did this is one of those like so bad it's good movies, but even then it's like a little bit of a stretch because there's just so much to love about this movie. Uh, this is a movie that's on the brink of like, yeah, it's made for kids, but if you look at the deleted scenes and stuff like that, you like, I don't know, if you view this, the entire lore and process of this movie, I think you might like it as much as me. But where this stands, this will never be replaced. I'm gonna put it here. Play it safe. 1994's The Crow. I watched this movie for the first time last year. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything about Brandon Lee. I didn't know who Brandon Lee was, and I especially didn't know about his death. Um, the only reason why I watched this was because my mom told me to go as the Crow for Halloween. Or said that maybe I should go as the Crow for Halloween, so I watched it. And yeah, this is definitely one of those movies that's easy to like just watch and instantly become a favorite. It's definitely here. Um, it's here for me. There's not a lot I can say about it that anybody else hasn't said about it. Um, I have the soundtrack on CD. It's I also have four copies of The Crow. I have one with Sin City. I have a Blu-ray import, and I also have the 4K. So I still haven't watched the 4K yet. But yeah, I love the movie. Um, Death Becomes Her. This was a movie that for the longest time, I always forgot the name of. I watched this once with my mom, and there's just something about I like the comedy of it, of course, but there's also like some cinematic moments and just like where they chose to like film certain scenes that I really appreciated from like someone that like likes those like that appreciates filmmaking. Definitely a great movie. Um, no, it's I kept for a reason. I kept for a reason, and definitely put it above here. Beverly Hills Cop, the first one. Yeah, apparently I had the first one on here. I don't remember this movie a whole lot, but I do remember laughing a ton. I have the collection. I do need to rewatch it. Or I need to rewatch all the movies, really. Uh, I think it. I think it will probably still hold up to this day. Yeah, it was just really funny. Not a whole lot I could say. Definitely a great movie. Okay, now this is a movie. This is one of those cases where, like, I saw something interesting and I picked it up at Valley Village, and that was this movie. This movie has a really amazing filmography that I haven't really seen from well, I mean, I haven't really seen any like thrillers that are remotely close to this, but this is an amazingly shot movie. Um, in certain aspects, this movie just looks beautiful. I really wish there was like a 4K version of this. Um, I'm not gonna spoil the concept, but some people might not like Robert Downey Jr.'s acting in this because it is like his early. I'd say it's probably his earlier stuff, but yeah, this movie was a trip. I love this movie. I'm so glad I watched it. 100% here. Face Off. I don't remember if it was this movie and another movie. I don't remember what movie I watched first. If it was Face Off or if it was Con Air. But I remember the first time I watched this movie, I absolutely loved it. And then on my second watch, I still love it. This is a great movie, if I'm being honest. Like, it's stupid action. Um, both actors perform have amazing performances. Uh, I just like just the overall like stupid action. It's a good fun time. Uh, there's I like the ending. I think it's the end. I I'm trying. It's been a while since I've watched it, but I think if I remember correctly, like they're having like a wedding, and then one of the characters shows up in like a on a boat. I think the boat like goes into the wedding, and then it's like a shootout. I that's what I remember. I don't know if that's what happened, but this is a yeah, this movie won't be replaced. Gone in 60 Seconds. I originally loved the remake of this movie, and then I watched this movie. I had a special edition of this that I found at Valley Village, and I was not I didn't know what to expect from this movie. The fact that this is like the movie that jump started like the car action franchise, I and you can't really argue with me because this is 1960s, I believe. Yeah, I think 1968. This is 1960s. This movie, just so you get the gist of this movie, this movie was like funded by basically friends and favors. The main character of the movie is also like the director of the movie, or the if I'm yeah, like the main character of the movie is also the director of the movie that does his own stunts. that provided a lot of the cars used in the movie. And just so you know, like basically, yeah, if you know Gone in 60 Seconds, you know that yeah, the whole point of the movie is like they gotta steal these list of cars because someone's in debt, part of the family or whatever, and you have to, like in the original movie, or I can't remember if I think they did. It's been a shoot. I already forgot, but I think they did put together like a little crew to steal the cars. Yeah, they did. They put a little crew together to steal the cars. Um, and then there's the final car, which is I already forgot. It's like a yellow Mustang fastback, and um, the like I don't even know if I'd say like the first half of the movie stealing the cars, but I if not the first half, if not like like a little bit of the beginning is them stealing the cars, and then the rest of the movie is just this entire long drawn out chase between the police and the guy in the Mustang fastback, while a bunch of cars get wrecked in the process. It is a phenomenal movie. I have like a Japanese import poster on my wall for this movie. Um, it's my favorite. It's probably my favorite car action oriented movie. If you like Fast and Furious or just cars in general, I would recommend you check out this movie. It holds up to this day, for sure. Now that being said, though, we have a wild competition, so we're gonna put it there. All right, Horn Hears Who. This movie's. I probably put up this movie specifically on the list because I have watched this. This might be maybe the second, no, third Dr. Seuss movie that I watch a bunch of times, primarily on TV. I think this movie's far good. Well, it's not. It's more than fine. I think this movie's good. It's not great. Better than the Lorax. Nowhere near as like great as Cat in the Hat or How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Um, I'm gonna say it could be replaced. Big shocker that we have mostly kids movies and could be replaced. Place Beyond the Pines. And thankfully, again, this is another movie that I didn't know anything getting into. Outside of that, Ryan Gosling was one of the main characters, and Bradley Cooper too. Uh, this movie is this movie genuinely made me cry. I think it would make a lot of people cry. To be fair, it's a movie about life. I could definitely say that, and basically how the decisions you make in the past or will affect the decisions in the future. And yeah, this is an amazing movie. Um, Definitely, I'm gonna put it here. Oh, also not to mention that Mike Patton did the soundtrack for the movie, which is phenomenal, especially the overall like theme of the movie or the score, like for the I think is very very good. Pretty crazy that yeah, like Mike Patton and like Ryan got you could uh incorporate or that I'd be saying something that includes both Mike Patton and Ryan Gosling in the same thing. It's wild. Um, yeah. Lego Movie. I think this movie's still great, uh, but there is a little bit of stuck in 2014 humor that I just cannot cannot not think about. But it's still good for what it is. I'm gonna say it also was entirely done in stop motion too, if I remember correctly. So it's I'm gonna put in kept for a reason. Bachelor Party. Again, this is a weird one. I remember I think I just liked this for the comedy. It's I watched it once. I was laughing at a lot of parts. Uh, it could definitely be replaced. Yeah, we'll just put it there. There's not a whole lot I could say about the movie. Paper Towns. This is one of those like it's not even a guilty pleasure if I'm being honest. This is a movie that like despite its subject matter, which is like, your typical kind of like teen manic pixie dream girl, although the main character in this movie is kind of not like that. Like it kind of changes that trope a bit. I still love this movie. Um, I don't think it will ever be replaced. There's not a whole lot I could really say. It's it's just a good movie throughout. I don't really have a lot of issues with it. I am surprised though why I am surprised that I didn't include Me and Earl and the Dying Girl though, but I included this movie. That's what I'm a little confused about. Now we got Hush. This is like the first ever quote unquote scary movie that I've ever watched. Um, but I love it. I love the cinematography. I love the way the ending's done is so perfect. This is, I would say, a perfect thriller in my eyes. To be fair, I'm gonna say it's great. This movie like really exceeded my expectations, which is Sightless. If you haven't watched Sightless, you need to check this movie out. It's a trip. Like this kind of takes Hush concept and just flips it on its end. Like it will fuck up your mind. It's a great movie. I've only watched it once though, and I have a feeling that if I was to go back and watch it, I would still have that same effect because I already kind of forgot about certain aspects of it. Definitely will not be replaced. It blew me away. I'm thinking probably here. Oh yes, this movie. This is a movie that I just encourage everybody to watch. If we're gonna watch something, we're gonna watch Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. This is easily my favorite movie with Johnny Depp. Um, this movie definitely made me laugh the most out of any other movie I've watched. I was dying laughing for this movie. Just thinking about this movie is just this is such a great movie. This is a lightning in a bottle movie that you can just not recreate. It's phenomenal. You need to watch this if you haven't watched this. Um, this might be a very hard pill to swallow, but I'm gonna put it probably here. No, here. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Outside of my family being annoying about like, oh, we gotta watch this. We haven't watched this year. It's a great movie. It's a perfect movie, really. There's not a whole lot of issues I have with it. It's funny, still holds up. It's such a classic movie to watch with your family. Um, Here, here. All right, Suicide Kings. This movie, I had no idea what it was getting into it, and I'm so glad I didn't because it blew me away. Uh, the concept for this movie is very simple, and yet then they twist it on its end and have like this weird twist that I was on board for. This was also the movie that got me to fall in love with Remy Zero. So yeah, honestly, it's a phenomenal movie, but it's nowhere near as perfect as I originally had on the list because I had this in like I think the first row of my Topster originally. It's gonna go there. Um, Interstellar. This was a base pick. Like I'm not joking. Like I mean, maybe now with all the space stuff going on, I might enjoy it still. But originally, I just picked this to be like, oh yeah, I like Interstellar. I'm one of those individuals. Um, that being said, with everything going on, I'm gonna say it's kept for a reason, and I'm not lying about that. It's definitely a movie that I don't really get out of any other movies, or it's a movie that provides something that I can't get out of any other movies. Law Abiding Citizen. I love this movie. This is a great thriller. My mom loves this movie. Uh, I I love I do yeah. There's not a whole lot I love not a whole lot to say about this movie. Um, especially nowadays with like criminal shit going on around in the world. And even if you do, like, if you lose someone to the system, like the way I already forgot his name, Jared. Yeah, the way Jared's character is just like, no, the justice system failed me. I'm gonna go out and seek real justice. And it's such a relevant topic nowadays that I love. The fact that and then like when he like tricked the court, it's like, yeah, this movie actually provides a commentary on a topic still relevant. Um, the action is a little bit like, okay, like, come on, like you're gonna like blow up the friggin' was it like the FBI, like, or like where they had when he had like the turrets set up and then he had like those mines and stuff. Like it got a little bit too actiony, but it still delivers its message great. Um, for that, we're gonna put it in great, and we're gonna probably put it here. Matchstick Men. This is a movie that I respect so much. I love this movie so much. I love the ending to this movie. Um, you like a movie about if you like the idea of like or just like movies kind of like covering con artists or even like just like yeah, like the ideas of like con artists, either people are either con artists get what they deserve or like yeah, if you like the idea of a con artist getting back what he deserves, this is definitely a movie for you. Nicolas Cage is a phenomenal actor in this movie. Like he's pretty much a phenomenal actor in almost every movie. Um, but his character is OCD, and he nails it. This is a great movie. Originally watched it on TV, and I'm so glad I picked it up on DVD. Um, it's kind of a it's not really a basic movie. It's one of those movies that's kind of like the idea of it. I mean I don't know. I don't want to undersell this movie. Definitely in terms of performances, I gotta be honest. I do prefer it over Face Off. Um, yeah, it's gonna stay like this. If you haven't watched my podcast episode, I talked about this next movie, which is Forget Paris, one of my favorite movies. A movie that I had no idea what I was getting into. I respect Billy Crystal in the previous or whatever work that I saw of his before this movie. Um, this is one of those kind of like this is kind of like one of those dysfunctional or it's like this is a comedy about a dysfunctional couple that fall in love and that they go through hardship. It's definitely a romantic comedy, and Billy a lot of lines from Billy Crystal's character is there. It's great. He's definitely the star of the movie. Um, I don't know really like a lot of really at the end of the day with this movie, it all comes down to like how a romantic comedy kept me invested throughout the whole thing, and it's perfect. It's a perfect romantic comedy that if you want to hear all my thoughts and everything about this movie, I have a podcast episode covering it. I do have to make a playlist with my podcast. I actually just realized that that's not a thing on my channel. Um, but yeah, I respect this movie a lot. This was like my fourth ranked movie. I'd probably maybe put it as fifth. That seems um, like it's like a realistic placement for it. Zathura. Um, this movie has been replaced, but I mean, if I'm being honest, I kept for a reason. Christian Stewart has been replaced, could be replaced. Not really, but no, it's between I kept a reason has been replaced. But yeah, if I'm being honest, it's been replaced. Um, Truman Show. There's again, this is one of those movies where there's a really dedicated like fan base to this movie that there's not a whole lot I can really say about it. I love the idea of it and I love the filmography. Um, so yeah, yeah, here, uh, yeah, probably here. No, here. All right. Liar, liar. The second movie I ever watched with Jim Carrey in it, and it's phenomenal. I love this movie. I quote this movie. It's such a great movie. It will have you dying of laughter. That being said, though, I don't want to put it in won't be replaced because I just think it's great. Probably here. Now, so just to be so like for okay, regarding this, right? So great at like I kept for a reason. That obviously like that's explainable. There's a reason why I still go back to the movie. Great is like it's nowhere near as good as like the top picks. But like I don't want this to be confused with like okay, well, if it's not in won't be replaced, could it be replaced? I doubt it because there's a little bit more than just one reason that I kept it for, and that I will continue to watch these movies. Valley Girl. It's honestly it's in could be replaced. I do like Nicolas Cage's performance in this movie, and I watched this movie and then I watched Say Anything after, and whether or not you want to make those two fair comparisons, I don't think they're really fair. I did prefer Valley Girl over Say Anything. And I know they're entirely different movies made by entirely different directors, but I don't know. There's just some interesting things about this movie. I do like the fact that they included the oldest song in the world by Plimsouls. Great song. I never heard that song outside of Montreal, so shout out to using that song. I didn't even know it was considered even a popular song or what, but yeah, great song. Um, Ruby Sparks. This is definitely the case of great. It's one of those movies that explores a concept that I always was really interested in, which is like um, the whenever like the writer writes this character and the character comes to life. I love that idea, and the fact that they did this more in like a romantic sense, really like I look at this movie in a kind of way like a lot of people look at like 100 Days of Summer. Like there's a lot of like relationship aspects that you can like learn from those two movies. Specifically, I like this movie a little bit more because it looks more towards the lines of like, oh well, if you know if you're like you'll be able to tell if you're like a male manipulator, and you'll and yeah, it's like it bridges the lines of like it also uh explores that whole idea with like the choices you make have consequences, which I also appreciate. um and like the whole like I was going on with like the male manipulators, like the way the choices that he decides to make kind of dictates like the type of person that he wants to be. And yeah, he gets the consequences of his actions. Great movie. Empire Records. I haven't watched like the fan soundtrack version of it, but the original, it's good. My mom was really like overhyping this movie. I do respect what it is. It's basically kind of like a musical, um, but the music is just coming from the soundtrack. It's I don't know. I like the idea of having of like stuff centered around having a record store and whatnot. I.e., one of the reasons why one of the reasons why I kind of like True Colors right now is like centered around that record store. But uh, there's not a whole lot of substance to this movie. But because it's one of those, just like there's not a lot of movies that did this exact thing. Um, I would put it in probably kept for a reason, just because of the soundtrack alone. Now, I do need to listen to the fan soundtrack to see if that changes my um, overall view on this movie. But I only watched the original. All right, Super 8. This is what easily one of my favorite childhood movies ever. Great movie, phenomenal movie. My dad was like really interested in this movie like whenever it was first like whenever the trailer dropped for it, and then when the movie came out, like I don't know if he I don't know if he watched it all or if he liked it, but I certainly love this movie. Um, Definitely a high rated childhood film that I'd put in like definitely above Gone Girl for filmography wise. I respect this movie so much. Um, 10 Things I Hate About You. This was pretty much just like a fill in the gap type of thing. It could be replaced. Not a whole lot to say. Turbo. Um, for me, this was kind of like Cars. Like I enjoyed Cars, and then this kind of had like that same kind of Cars feel to it, but it's not Cars. It's Snail. Uh, I don't know if this movie still holds up, so gonna put in could be replaced. but I did like it a lot when I was a kid and when it came out. All right, Cheaper by the Dozen, the first movie. I love both movies equally. They're easily like before I saw Great Outdoors, and probably before I saw Great Outdoors, before I saw Yours, Mine, and Ours. Those two movies were like my go-to, always on repeat on the VHS. Um, I love these movies. Some of my favorite family films, if not my favorite family films. Yeah. Tokyo Drift. This is my favorite Fast and Furious movie. Yes, there's a lot of childhood nostalgia bias towards it. However, I do. The more I continue to rewatch the films, this is always the one that I remember. There's just a lot of stuff. There's a lot of memorable stuff in this movie that's not as like cheesy as the others. I respect it a lot. It's great. Yeah, put it here. Bolt. This is still to this day is my favorite. Is this Disney? I think it's considered Disney. Yeah, this is my favorite Disney like action type of movie that I don't know why we don't get a lot of action movies like Bolt. Bolt is phenomenal. It still holds up. It's great. The video game was also great. Uh, yeah, it's great. Another movie that I don't know why isn't on I didn't put on here is Over the Hedge because I love that movie to death too. A Gossip. I if you didn't watch my it was like new songs that I heard for the first it was like songs that I heard for the first time of 2023. This I mentioned Gossip. I mentioned the closing song on this or the credit song from this movie. This movie is great. It's I love when movies have like this like group of like this group and then the whole movie centered around this specific group, i.e., hackers, which we'll get to. But yeah, and even the twist, like the overall thriller and suspense of this movie's, like the way it like sets up this whole thing, and then the twist at the end is really great. Norman Reed is in here, um, and he has an alright performance. Everybody else is just great. Um, Gossip is definitely won't be replaced type of movie. In terms of ranking, I would easily put it above Matchstick Men. Actually, no, I kind of want to put it before. Yeah, I want to put it after Gone Girl. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Um, Disturbing behavior is like so between disturbing behavior and the faculty. I love disturbing behavior more. It's just there's so much more to this movie that's great, especially the I forgot his name, but this guy is great in the movie. Phenomenal actor. It's such a great '90s movie. I don't want to the overall uh, concept of it you'll find out on your own is wild, but it's a great movie. Um, this hurts me though because I do want to like Gossip. I do like Gossip more. I think. Damn it! I these this is wild, man. Because these two movies are both really great. All right, I'm gonna keep it there. That hurts. That really hurts. And I'm nowhere like I'm not putting it above Super 8 either. But yeah, Nightcrawler. This was a movie that a friend in high school recommended that I watch, and I like the cinematography for it, but I didn't like. I think that was the only reason why I liked the movie. There wasn't a whole lot to this movie that I like. I didn't, like. I don't think it's the greatest movie ever made, but I do. I can understand why a lot of people like this movie. I personally only enjoyed this movie for the cinematography itself, which would be the only reason that I would keep it for. I'd keep it for a reason. I'd probably put it the highest movie for that. Grinch before not the Grinch before Christmas. Um, How the Grinch Stole Christmas or How the Grinch Saved Christmas. I don't remember which one, but the one where Jim Carrey is the Grinch. I think it's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Yeah, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. This is my favorite Christmas movie. I don't know why. I watch it. I watched it so many times. I just love it to death. Um, from a personal standpoint, I'm putting it above Christmas Vacation. Absolutely love this movie. Um, yeah, there's I don't know. It's not just childhood nostalgia because I continue to watch it more than 5 times a year. Um, all right, The Art of Getting By. This was a movie that interested me just by like the I don't know, like when it came out, how it looked, how the main character is. That I checked it out, and I mean, this is one of those movies where it's like, yeah, I could totally see why I watched this in high school. Because even if I didn't watch this in high school, this wouldn't have been on the list. Um, this is kind of like a pretentious. If you're like a narcissist or yeah, if you're like a narcissist, I think you would like this movie. It's I don't know. There's just something about this movie that just screams like if anybody says that this is one of their favorite movies, I just feel like they have some trust issue or I have a feeling like they have had issues in the past where people don't trust them for things. I don't know. 100% got replaced. I don't mind the acting, but just the way the main character is just so unlikable and just I could totally see why I originally liked it when I was in high school. That's so bad. The Joker. Again, this is kind of like one of those originally when I watched it, like yeah, I thought, oh, it's like this really like huge deal. But at the end of the day, I think I only like this movie for the cinematography. Yours, mine, and ours. So this is easily going to be probably. I gotta look at my list again. Oh yeah, this is gonna be tough. Definitely gonna put it great then. It's nowhere near as good as Cheaper by the Dozen, but I have a lot of nostalgia with that movie. That it's it's basically Cheaper by the Dozen. If I'm being honest, I think there's maybe more kids. It's yeah, it's wholesome at the end of the day, like Cheaper by the Dozen. It's family dynamic, wholesome family dynamics and dysfunctionality. All right, this is one of my favorite movies coming up next. I originally thought this was gonna be a horror movie, so I watched it on Halloween, and I was not expecting to be hit in the gut and cry because this is like I used to compare this. I used to be like, how do I pitch this movie to you? It's like Ghost meets I Know What You Did Last Summer. That's kind of how I like. I feel like that's like the overall idea of it. There's a lot of things that are bad about this movie, mostly the acting. and mostly the ending, but at the same time, there's so much charm into like the actors gave it their all, and the soundtrack fucking slaps. You have Snow Patrol, Perfect Circle, um, Mellowdrone. There was another band that I forgot which one, but it's a moody 2007 film that I adore, and it really kills me the fact that I lost this movie. Yeah, I could buy. Eventually, I will probably just end up buying another DVD, buy a DVD off of Amazon. But I love this movie. I do want to kind of talk. I do want to do like a deep dive of it because it is one of those movies that's like, here's a movie that you probably have never heard about. You might like, you might hate, love to hate it, you might hate to love it. And yeah, I love this movie. It's definitely it'll be a movie that will never be replaced. I watched it in a very dark time in my life, and yet I still love it to this day. It's kind of like a less toned down version of the Butterfly Effect. Like Butterfly Effect is really edgy. With the Invisible, it's kind of like a little bit more like um. I think this is rated R, if not PG-13. Nah, I think I don't remember if this was rated R or PG-13. Um, but it's very edgy 2007. Um, I'm gonna put it here. No, I'm gonna put it here actually. Hackers. So recently I've heard there's a different divide with this movie. You know, like people like Mudahara love this movie. They think it's a really great movie. I think it's a really great movie, and then there's some other people who'd be like, "Oh, this is a movie that's so bad it's good." I'm kind of on the fence about it. I like this movie. Regardless, I still love this movie. I have a poster hung up on my wall of this movie. Um, it's just it's '90s cheese, but great '90s cheese. And really, at the end of the day, it's just a fun time. I don't really think about it. I don't laugh on like how bad certain things are. It's just it's a good, fun, stupid movie that I don't really find stupid at all. Smokey and the Bandit. Yeah, this has been replaced. Um, it's a movie. I have the like collection, but I would need to like go back. I need to go and rewatch. I have to go and watch all the movies again. After watching the first movie, it's fine. Definitely wouldn't go back to it, but like I said, it definitely I need to rewatch the first movie, and I need to watch all the movies. Analyze this. This is probably the second movie that had me dying of laughter, which ironically also has Billy Crystal. Um, as like, well, actually, no, that wouldn't be ironically. Because yeah, never mind. But yeah, this is the second movie that had me absolutely dying. Um, for the longest time, I remember this airing on. It aired on. It aired on. I don't remember what this aired on. I could have. I for the life. Or I used to think that I think Disney XD had like an adult or not an adult, but like a young like a teenager block. And I swear to God, this movie was on that block because I remember them playing previews of this movie on there. But I could be wrong. And then I remember telling my dad about this movie, but he forgot the name of it. And then I found out my grandma had this, and I was like, yeah, this is the movie. I love this movie. This movie is so funny. Um, the two actors, Billy Crystal and Robert Downey Jr. absolutely fantastic. It will never be replaced. 100% going in. Um, yeah, that's the only thing about holiday themes. As much as I do like Christmas Vacation, like this movie did have me laughing more. Um, okay. Words on Bathroom Walls. This is a movie I still love to this day. It's a movie that covers mental health in a very like it's kind of on the brink of like whether or not we're glorifying this or not, but at the end of the day, like there is a powerful message to this movie that I respect. And especially like playing something like Life is Strange and then like watching this, like I could totally tell the type of movies I could totally tell like after playing Life is Strange the total style of movies I was going to be into, and this being one of them. Um, it won't be replaced. Definitely. Yeah, I'll put it here. Ghostbusters 2. I wasn't a fan of the original Ghostbusters. I always liked the second movie. I don't know why. It's been a very long time since I've watched it. Uh, and yet I don't know why a lot of people don't like it. It's weird because I don't really see a lot of issues with this movie at all. I think from a uh, cinematic point of view, it's good. Um, however, like that being said, it could definitely be replaced. Um, no matter how much I defend it. Oh, whoops, we're not. All right, next is this is not going here by the way, but this is a an action movie that I love to death. I've watched this movie so many times, and I'm so glad my grandma had this on DVD. This is easily one of my favorite action movies, like period. And I do forget about it, but I don't think we have it on DVD anymore, so I'm gonna need to get that back because I miss this movie. This movie was is so good. I love the action. It's a great movie. There's not a whole lot I could say about it. Although the ending scene, so funny enough, when I played Wheelman, I knew that the ending for Wheelman felt very familiar because it's literally the ending of this movie. So, yeah, um, great action movie. Easily above Face Off. Remember Me. This is easily a guilty pleasure movie because I know how cheesy this movie is. I know how much people either hate it or love it. But damn it, I loved it as a teenager. And I still love it to this day. It's a movie. It's the most movie of all time, but I love it. Requiem for a Dream. My mom was hyping this movie up to be like, "This is a fucked up movie, but you don't want to watch this movie alone." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, I don't remember her saying that, so I just watched the movie alone." And this is a easily a masterpiece of film. Uh, I think I had this as like my third pick, which let's look at our picks now because we have a lot of competition here. Snow Angels, yeah, no, I'm putting above Snow Angels. I love the soundtrack to this movie. I love the way this movie's done. This movie plays around with a lot of basically the concept of consuming things. I think everybody should watch this movie, no matter how fucked up it is. Uh, Jared Leto is one of the main actors in it. Um, and yeah, the performance is great all around. Fight Club. So regarding, well, I know this movie specifically, but I think there might be some other movies I originally liked, and then like they kind of just kept building up or getting like a lot of people kept pushing this damn movie to the point where it became like TikTokified. Literally, my most viewed TikTok right now is an upload of the ending of the PS2 Fight Club video game. It has over 90,000 views. Uh, just to give you like an idea of how popular this is. And while I do think this is a great movie, I hate the fact that people kind of ruined it for me. Now, obviously, it's great, but man, do I hate how much people like really just. It's almost like their fans kind of the fans ruined this movie for me. Um, I put this pretty low on the original ranking. I think it was like at the bottom. Breakfast Club. It's cheesy, but I love it. You know, it does what it needs to do. It's a classic. There's not much I can say. It's a classic. It's not my favorite high school movie, but uh, oh, okay. I'm gonna have to pause this. Sorry, my workplace changed today, so I'm gonna try to finish this. Did I rank it? What did I rank? I think it was Requiem for a Dream. Yeah, Requiem for a Dream. Man from Uncle. I originally watched this movie with my dad on Netflix, and this is just a really this is like a funny action movie that I know is based off of an old show. The humor in this movie is fucking hilarious. I'm not gonna spoil anything. Just watch the movie for yourself. It's a great movie, and I still love it. Couldn't find this movie on DVD for a long period of time, and then my aunt got it for me for my birthday in 2021. 2021. Yeah. That's not. No. Okay. We'll put that in. Yeah. Put it here. All right. Next is how many do we have left? We have quite a few. All right. Cheaper by the Dozen 2. Well, that's a no-brainer. We're gonna put it above the first movie because the sequel is far better. Despite, but I like them both. You know. All right. The Pianist. This is a beautiful movie. I like the storytelling of it. I like the cinematography. It's a little dark and depressing, but fuck, is it? It's good. It's such a good movie. Every time I find it on DVD, it's always scratched, which sucks because I love it. Um, Probably above Truman Show. Goodfellas. Pff, what else? What can I say about Goodfellas that no one has already said? You know. Uh, let's put it above Man from Uncle. Heather's. Um, I don't know. I as much as I do like this movie, it's not my favorite performance of Christian Slater. and like I don't know. I have some gripes with this movie. Yeah, and not to mention it also inspired Mean Girls, and I don't know. It's just I don't know. It could be replaced. Night Hunter. I watched this I think 2 years ago on Netflix, and this is a weird action movie or action thriller type of movie. If you know like the movie like what's that movie Sound of Freedom. When you think of like Sound of Freedom, this is kind of like a better Sound of Freedom, but also it's not really the same type of it's not the same type of story. It's like it's kind of action and stupid like that, but Henry Cavill's amazing. The weird villain character is like trying to be like the Joker. This movie will keep you on edge, but it's nowhere by near as like as good as it wants to be. Oh, I gotta put on pause. Hi. Okay. No more calling now. Um, it's great. That's we'll put it. Yeah, I'll just put it there. Frozen Ground. So funny enough, I accidentally put Heat on here twice. So I got rid of that and I replaced it with Frozen Ground. This was probably this was one of the last movies I watched. I love this movie. This movie's intense. It kept me on edge the whole time. It's very and not to mention it's based off of a true story. Like uh, this is a great movie and like how it's it's kind of like teetering on the edge between like two different well I wouldn't really say two different stories um but yeah, if you like detectives like trying to like or like following this like path of crime or path of like trying to really yes because it's a serial killer really like trying to stop the serial killer. It's like it's very intense. uh Definitely going to be can't be replaced or won't be replaced, and we're gonna put it for a thriller. Yeah, it definitely kept me on edge. Put above Gone in 60 Seconds, which hurts, but it's just how it is. Beetlejuice. Uh, I don't even know why I put it on here. Yeah, it's a great movie, but like I don't really have a connection with it. Saving Private Ryan, easily one of, if not the best World War II movie to ever be made. Um, Definitely a movie that I'll rewatch whenever if I want to watch a war movie. It's it's great at what it does. It's a phenomenal war movie that tells that tells the story really well, and yeah, there's not a whole lot I could say. It's going to be above Gone in 60 Seconds. Um, all right, next, Faculty. As I said before, between this and Disturbed Behavior, I do prefer Disturbed Behavior more. Let's look at our ranking again, entirely, just to be sure, like what we know what we're doing here. Yeah, let's put it here. Actually, no. Nah, we'll put it like more lower. We'll put it like, yeah, I'll put it above Face Off. Tora Tora. Now, this is one of my favorite like war movies in the way it was shot. I think it's definitely one of the best. Like, it's not like a documentary. It's like one of the best retellings of a historical event like Pearl Harbor in a way that like I have not I've not seen any like recreations of like historical events done in a way that's like so specific. I mean, I don't even know what I'm saying. Like, if you watch this movie, you'll understand. Like, the way this movie's shot is so good, and it's genuinely, it's almost scary on how like realistic you can like expect it to be, like compared to like the actual historic events of what happened. Easily, I've gone 60 seconds. All right. Perks being a wallflower. This is a movie that I'll just never stop watching. um, I relate to it so much. It's one of those that's just it's like paper towns. It's like words on bathroom walls, but it's better than all of them. And frankly, if I'm being honest, I'm gonna have to put it like like it's really high for me. It's probably gonna be. I'm putting it above Soon Bright Ryan. Primal Fear. This movie, um, in terms of like movies that are like centered around court, it's not really like all centered around the court, but it's like it's about the legal system, and there's a twist ending. It's really good. Um, but I don't. I watched it once. I don't know if I'll watch it again. It is shot really well. I don't know though. I feel like it could be replaced. Richard Gere is one of my favorite actors. Uh, not enemy. No, evolution. I already forgot the name of this. I already forgot the name of this. I think it's called Evolution. Um, this is kind of like a even more funny version of Men in Black. Uh, and I love it. It's good for what it is. Definitely kept for a reason. I wouldn't put it any higher than that because I like it for the comedy, but it's not like a fantastic movie or anything. Only the Brave, however, is an amazing movie that if you haven't watched it, uh, it's a great watch. It's based on a true story of a wildfire that happened, and I don't want to spoil anything, but it's a firefighter movie. Uh, I've only watched two firefighter movies, and this is the better one, next to Ladder, whatever it's called. Uh, and yeah, this was a movie that made me emotional. I'm gonna put it above Sam Bright Ryan. Midnight Run. Oh, this movie. I I watched this movie and it's like it's a good movie. I don't even know like how to really like. It's just it's a fun movie. The concept is so funny. It's just it's a wild movie all the way throughout. Um, definitely. I'll put it next to Man from Uncle. Dazed and Confused. Easily one of my favorite high school movies. It's just the feeling that I get when I listen to Best Buds by Mom Jeans is the same feeling I get when I watch Dazed and Confused. Um, just like mellow, relaxed, and also funny at times. Okay, put it above Midnight Run. Okay, perfect. Um, Next. Okay, so The Science of Sleep is a movie that probably not a lot of people have heard about. It was an indie film done in the UK, I believe. If you like the idea of like movies centered around like characters like inner thoughts and like inside their head is like another version of themselves, but like the difference in this case is like whenever like his thoughts is like his own self holding together or hosting a talk show in his head whenever he's like going through like different whenever he's like going through different emotions and he's like contemplating things of what he's going to say to like uh characters. It's a very interesting movie that I highly recommend if you like artsy films. This is 100% a must watch for art film fanatics. Um, put it above Paper Towns. Accepted. I haven't watched this movie in forever, so for now we're just gonna put it as could be replaced. The Departed, one of the greatest movies of all time. The amount of praise that people give towards Die Hard and I don't know John Wick, whatever other action movie or not. Well, yeah, I guess yeah, it doesn't really count because this is a thriller. Um, like I hold that level of appreciation for this movie. And it's a phenomenal movie. We're gonna put it in probably second, if I'm being honest. Where'd I put it? Oh, put it there. Yeah, probably second. It's always neck and neck between these two because I love them both. If you haven't watched The Departed, watch it. It's funny, it's great, it's iconic, it's memorable, it's quotable. I have it in 4K. Shooter. This was a movie again originally watched on TV and then I eventually picked up the DVD and I watched it a lot. It was specifically when I was like I think 14. Uh, Mark Wahlberg ended up like becoming one of my favorite actors. And this movie is still a movie that I hold a lot of respect to. I've watched it recently, but going back to it, I don't think a lot of things will change. We're gonna put it in the highest grade for now. Con Air. This is obviously going above Face Off. I love this movie. Probably my favorite Nicolas Cage movie, if I'm being honest. It's iconic. Actually, no, we're gonna put it a little above that. Yeah, we're gonna put it above Man from Uncle. Yeah, iconic performances all around. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, probably easily one of my favorite kids movies. I also realized that we don't have Ratatouille, so Ratatouille got taken out for some reason. Um, it's great. Like I love the actors. I love the overall animation for the animation for this movie is really what probably keeps me coming back to it. But I also just love like the character dynamics and each character. It's great. It's really great for what it is. Can't hardly wait. Watched it once, and I just remember from the soundtrack. Now, whether or not it's good is debatable, but I do think I would keep it in. I'd probably put it as like the highest for. No, probably put it second highest for kept for a reason. I'll have to go back to it though. Stay. This was my second. I think this was my no. This must have been like there's no way this yeah this might have been my second pick for top picks. Hmm. I I love this movie. I don't want to blow it out of proportion because the fans kind of are ruining this, or the people that think that they're Ryan Gosling are ruining this. I'm gonna put it in. I'm putting it above The Crow because I do resonate with this movie a lot. And then we have my favorite high school movie, which is Pump Up the Volume. I love this movie. It's my favorite Christian Slater performance. I resonated a lot with his character and a lot of the things that it's a movie that holds the test of time, especially like regarding high schools nowadays. Like it honestly does stand the test of time. Uh, no, sorry, this was my second pick, which is oh man, like if you just look at the top row, like these are absolute classics. But so is this. So let's do. I'm gonna put it here. Couple movies left. Disney Rescuers. I don't know why a lot of people prefer the second movie over the first one. I love the first movie. I think it's great. It's my one of my favorite Disney movies. Um, Ironically enough, so I got a Tale of Despero DVD, but the Rescuers, the Blu-ray version of Rescuers was in that DVD. So I used to love Tale of Despero, and then I watched that, and it was like, this is a good Disney movie. I'm gonna put it kept for a reason because we have so many great picks here. I'm gonna put it above Joker. Scrooged. I only watched this movie for the first time last year, and I really liked it. It instantly became one of my favorite Christmas movies. 100% gonna go like probably here. Actually, nah. Wait. Uh, nah, because it's not. It's not like it's not. It's nowhere near as like National Lampoon's or Grinch. It's gonna probably go like probably here. Yeah, there's fine. Snatch. So between this and The Departed, I love this movie so much. This movie is great. If you haven't watched this movie, it's like the perfect blend of it's comedy. It's mostly comedy. There is like so it's like kind of just criminals being stupid. That's basically this movie. Criminals being stupid. Um, Honestly, this is not a bad spot, but I'll probably put it here. I had that ranked pretty like 4 or 5 rows down in the original, so glad that's fixed. Always go back to it. The Patriot. This is a movie I haven't watched in a while. I did pick it up on DVD along when I actually picked up Man on Fire. Um, I liked it for what it was. It's it's kind of one of those historical movies that I was engaged the whole time. I don't think it's like the best of the best, but I do think that it's great. So I think like there's fine. Tron Legacy. This movie, despite it not being really that good, I still I still like it. I still like it a lot. In the same level as like The Invisible. Like I know that there are aspects of this movie that are bad, but I just look past it. I love it, especially the soundtrack. The soundtrack inspired, obviously parts of Lucas from Afar. Specifically, like if you listen to sitcoms and with when good things happen to the main characters. Um, I have this movie to thank for that. This movie soundtrack is absolutely amazing. So 100%, it's great. Gonna probably put it above Night Hunter. Uncle Buck. I don't love this movie as much as I love Great Outdoors, but that's not to say that it's like a downgrade by any means. It's just like two different films try and do two different things or different things. So the safe bet I would put is like here, and then we have a weird pick. So on Netflix, when I was just looking at whatever to watch, this movie, I saw the cover and I knew that it was going to be bad, but I wanted to know like where is this going. So this movie is My Teacher, My Obsession. Came out 2018. It has a lot of bad reviews. It's it's as you suspect, like this random uh girl is obsessed with this teacher to the point where like she's a psychopath, or I mean I guess I'd say it's more of a sociopath. That yeah, that like, and I'm gonna spoil it, or actually I'm not gonna spoil it because you can check it out for yourself. But the ending had me absolutely dying. Like I thought, like yeah, this movie's stupid but I love it. And then the ending just like made me die. Like I was just like, oh my god, are you serious? Like what the hell? But I appreciate this movie's existence. Definitely kept for a reason. But I mean, yeah, it's great. It's great. So bad, it's great. All right, here is a wild list, but these are my original movie picks. The only movie that I forgot or that isn't here is Ratatouille, and Ratatouille would obviously go in Cannot Be Replaced. And if Over the Hedge was here, same thing. There are definitely a lot of movies that I could add, but at the same time, I need to consume more. I need to watch more movies to create a more definitive list. Because as like if you look at this list, you could be like, okay, I get it. Like this is a bigger list than like the movie ones. But then when you have like, how many is this exactly? We have one, two, three, four, five, six, 51. We have 51 movies. So that means I would realistically have to watch like another 50 more movies to really establish like my to establish like a to add more to the list. But yeah, like I said, Over the Hedge would definitely be on there. Ratatouille would be on there. Um, Originally, I had Pacific Rim, but that would not be on there. Yeah, I don't know. I have to watch more movies. And yeah, there's still like that one movie that I haven't watched, like Basketball Diaries, which I've not watched because it's impossible to watch. But yeah, that's the overall ranking. It's will probably be controversial in I feel like most of the controversy will come from these picks because how do you go from like, all right, yeah, man, like be like, oh wow, having Goodfellas at like the fourth row is criminal. I'll be like, yeah, I know, but watched the movie and I've watched the movie enough times to know that I just, my regarding my feelings towards these movies, I resonate more with movies that I can either relate to or stuff that just has me laughing my ass off, like, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. And then obviously you have to put more classics above that, like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, uh, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and yeah. And then a lot of at the end of the day, it's really just like what resonates with me and what do I love, and all of this is stuff that won't change. I'll always love these movies for what they did. That's all. Regarding the When We Were Young 2024 ranking, that will be out probably, or I'll be shooting that tomorrow, and then hopefully I will try True Colors. Well, by the time this video comes out, it'll probably be either late tonight or Wednesday. We'll have to see. But yeah, that's my ranking. Peace.